If you're not willing to try anything, you could risk losing everything. You're listening to the Surging Forward podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Surging Forward broadcast, where we're helping you to have a positive view in a negative world. My name is David Valentine, and I'm here to help you see the value in the job you do and how you can keep surging forward. Hello again, and welcome to the Surging Forward podcast. You're listening to episode number 73, and I've titled this one, Taking a Risk. You're not going to want to miss this one. I talk about some really cool things as we're getting ready to start 2018. Wow, I think it's going to be a really great year this year. But if this is your first time listening, I want to say thank you for listening to the show and taking the time out of your busy day, whether you're driving to work or coming home from work or whatever the case may be. Go back and listen to some of the other episodes also. We have plenty of them out there that can hopefully help you to succeed in the trades. Because this is the show where I always try to help you out in the field, because I know how tough it is out there working, especially in the weather this week, is with the cold and the snow. Those of you that have had to work in the snow, hopefully you're keeping at least a little bit warm. I really feel you. I've been there, done that. And those that complain about the cold, most of the time are those that don't have to work in the cold. So, hey, my heart goes out to you guys. Stay warm, stay safe, and most of all, make sure that you're working in a safe manner so you can go home to your families. So, but with that said, a lot of cool things going on. I actually spent last week and put out a Facebook Live. For those of you that didn't see that on Facebook, make sure you go check out Facebook there and look at Surging Forward's page there on Facebook. You can look us up, and if you haven't already, look me up on Facebook also, and just send me a friend request. If you have any questions or anything that you have, I'm starting to get a lot of requests. People are messaging me and just asking me all kind of questions, and I'm more than happy to help you out the best I can. I don't have the answers to everything. I can hopefully guide you in the right direction. And like I said, I'm opening up the doors. Eventually, I'm going to be opening up some special things where I'm going to offer my coaching services to help people out. Whether it's on a Skype call, and we can do a one-on-one and just talk for a little bit and try to see where you want to go with your career. I've had a very successful career, and it's continuing to be successful, but I want to help mentor you to help pass this career on and help you to succeed in whatever career you happen to be in, whether it's electrical, HVAC, plumbing, carpentry, retail. It really doesn't matter. It depends on what you enjoy doing. But the attributes that I'm talking about go across the board. So, but I am going to be putting out an electrical course, and I'm going to take the mystery out of calculations. So you don't want to miss that course. And if you want to stay tuned on it, of course, I will be announcing it on the podcast when it comes out. But if you want to have a pre-launch or know really up front as soon as it's ready to come out, keep in touch on the Facebook page. You can also go to my website at surgingforward.com. That's just surgingforward, one word, .com, and you'll see on there, sign up for our newsletter, and we'll be putting it out there probably first, and then those on the Facebook page, and I'll probably be publicizing another Facebook Live, and then of course it'll probably come on the podcast. But I'm hoping it's going to be out sometime around, I'm thinking around February, sometime around there, that I'll be able to complete this. I'm not going to, I'm trying not to make it too long, but I want to take out the mystery. Understanding the electrical code book is fairly easy. but most people shy away from the calculations. So we're going to be starting off with branch circuit calculations. That's what we're going to start off with. That's going to be the first part. Part 2 may come out in April, sometime around there, because it takes a little bit of time to put these together. But part 2 is going to be talking about feeders and services. But the calculations are very simple to do, guys. And this is what we're going to be demystifying, if I can use that term. So anyhow, let me get into what today's topic. And I wanted to talk about taking risks. If you notice in the beginning, when I made this statement, if you don't try something, you're not going to succeed at anything. You have to be able to take a certain amount of risks. And of course, they are calculated risks. You don't want to go out and just say, hey, I'm going to point my car out somewhere and drive to California. Nothing against California. I got a lot of listeners out there in California, but I happen to be on the East Coast here. Just like those in California would want to drive out to Virginia here. But you don't want to just say, hey, I'm going to point my car and go and see what happens. That's not really a planned out risk. That's flipping a coin and hoping something's going to happen. But you have to be willing to make a choice. And what are you going to do for 2018 to make your life better? Take a moment, just maybe this evening when you're sitting home by yourself or thinking about something. And just think about, we all hear these things about goal setting. And I know, nobody wants to set goals because, number one, it's just like a New Year's resolution. Well, I'm going to set this resolution, just going to break it. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, where do you want to be? What is it you really want to do? Now, if you're totally happy where your life's at right now, well, that's fantastic. But if you stay stagnant, it's like a river, okay? A river is constantly moving out in the nature and out in the world there. The river's constantly moving along. Once it becomes a stagnant pool and it doesn't move anymore, after time, algae comes in and it sets over. It just becomes slimy. Then the mosquitoes breed in it. And it just becomes nothing. Nothing happens. You see, we have to constantly keep challenging ourselves and growing. So when I talk about taking a risk, it's not a risk per se to say, hey, I'm going to go take $1,000 and invest in some stupid company I don't even know anything about. No, that's foolishness. Because if you didn't take the time to investigate that company and see what that company does and to see if it's a viable option, well, you're just it's just like gambling. There's a big difference between gambling and investing. Gambling is rolling the dice and hoping that it comes up. Gambling is doing what the Powerball and the Mega Lotto was. It just was real big. And, oh yeah, I went out and bought my ticket for the Mega Lotto and the Powerball. It was up $400 million or whatever it was. No, I didn't win. I still do this podcast even if I won because I really enjoy helping others out, whether it's with code or whatever the case may be. But, yeah, that was a gamble because there is no risk involved in that. It's no calculated risk. All I did was give some money and hope my numbers come up. There's nothing I can do to control that. But when you take a calculated risk, you're actually in control of that situation. So when you make a choice, making a choice to take a risk, for example, going to take a class. I get a lot of people that ask me, oh, should I take this class or that class? I had an individual ask me a while back if he wanted to take a PLC class, if I should take that. First of all, he even asked if I offered one. And I said, no, I don't have one at this time. And he said, should I take this PLC class? Well, I just gave him some great advice. I said, well, no class is bad. Somebody gets something out of it. I take classes all the time on stuff that I know. But if I get one thing out of it, it's going to help my career a whole lot better. Now, I did tell him not to spend too much money on it because, if it's something that, if you're spending a whole lot of money on a class and it's something you're not doing right now, it's probably not going to benefit you because you're not going to get the value out of that class. But if you're taking a class and, $30, $40, $60, maybe even $100, $100, okay, here and there, you get something value out of it that can make you a better tradesman, or it can make you a better manager, better foreman, or a better project manager, well, that's great because you can use that value. I've had multiple courses throughout my career, and I've taken some that are just what I deem totally worthless. The amazing thing about it is, later on down the road, what I thought was worthless ended up being so valuable that it put me in a position where people thought that I knew so many things. And it's not that I actually knew it, it's just that I had taken a class and I had taken a risk. So I was in a position to be able to make a difference. But it doesn't make me any better than anybody else. Sometimes people are afraid to take a risk because they're afraid they're going to lose money. Well, if it's something that's going to give you any kind of value back, buying a lotto ticket, that's a foolish risk. But what do you got when it's done? You throw it in the garbage. But if you're taking a class or you're taking a risk of going to work for somebody for free. Oh my God, did I just say the free word? Well, some of the ways I learned a lot of things in the trade was by working for free back in the day. Now, I know that's kind of frowned upon and stuff like this, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with going out and, hey, you're hanging around somebody who's a whole lot smarter than you and you're working with them on weekends. It's not always about the mighty dollar of getting money back. Education today, we search for it all over on the internet. You can get it on Google. You can spend so much time getting all this education, but if you never use it, what good is it? I mean, if we could absorb all this information we have on the computer, why would we even have to bother working? So what's the use? See, that's not the point. The point is, where do you want to be? What are you going to do to get there? You want to be a race car driver? Okay, well, hey, that's a great idea. What are you doing to get there? What are you learning about race car driving that you want to do? Do you want to be the best HVAC technician out there in the world? Well, that's kind of a far-fetched goal. Who thinks that anymore, I guess. But do you want to run your own business someday? You want to get out from underneath the man. Well, let me tell you something, my friends. It's not always peaches and cream running your own business either. But it's an inspiring thing to do. There's a lot of freedom with running your own business. Matter of fact, I am looking forward to when I can go full-time again, doing what I love to do, and that's teaching and consulting and working a business. Now, I had my own contracting business. I've had things. I've had good ones. I've had bad ones. I've had some that I've sold for a good sum of money and done very well. And I've had some to where I made some bad decisions and other things happened in the economy, and it was a risk I took, then things happened that were beyond my control. But you know what? I learned from each one of those, and it's made me a better person, and it's given me some valuable insights to where I can share with other people. And it's also helping me in a stepping stone to where I can have that freedom again. So running your own business can give you a lot of freedom. But it's not like you can be the best HVAC tech or the best electrician in the world and say, hey, that guy, he's charging $125 and he's only paying me $30, and I can go out and do that a whole lot better. Maybe I can charge $60. Well, if that's your philosophy on business, I would love to talk to you before you go into business, because I could save you a whole lot of heartache if that's what you believe is what it takes to run a business. Because, my friends, there's a lot more involved than just saying, I'm going to make $50. Okay? That's all for another consultation or another podcast. It's not about just saying, hey, I'm going to go do. You need to really learn how to investigate and find out what is involved. See, taking a true risk means that you're going to calculate what's the probabilities. What am I going to do to succeed? What am I going to do to make sure I do not fail? It's doing the research. But it also means you don't want to just get tons of education and say, hey, I'm going to do. Sometimes you've got to take the leap. So there's many of you out there that are probably in different stages right now of that. You might be in the research stage. Now, some of you guys have been in the research stage way too long, and you really need to take the leap. You've gotten tons of education. You know what you want to do, but you just don't have the confidence to go do it. There's a fear. Yes, there's a fear of change. But if you don't take that leap, you're never going to succeed. If you don't take the risk, you've already done the learning. Now, some of you are ready to take the leap, but you haven't done any learning. Well, for you, I would hold you back and say, hey, you really want to look at this right now. Are you in the right position to be able to make this happen? So that's something you really want to think about and evaluate. And it's all on an individual basis. But taking a risk does not mean that you won't succeed. Taking a risk doesn't mean you're risking everything and going to lose it all. Because the thing is, what do you really own anyway? What do you really have? You take a look at these snowstorms, all these ice storms that have gone up and down the East Coast. My goodness, it's devastating. Some of the damage that was done. And, I'm so thankful that, I'm safe and everything was good. I always had a nice warm house, but there's a lot of people that lost power. We really don't have control over as much as we think we do. What we need to do is make sure we're ready for those situations to happen. Do you have a plan? Have you ever even thought about a plan? What about financially? Do you live week to week with a paycheck? I used to always think it was a joke when people told me, they said, wow, you have to have 6 months of savings, in a savings account. I was like, good grief, I've gone through my whole life. I'm barely enough to have 2 weeks saved. Well, my friends, it is important that you have at least 2 or 3 months because you never know. And what if your employer walks up and says, hey, I got to let you go? Now, this is, something that's just happened to me recently. I shared the one podcast a while back about getting laid off. We don't know what our future is. So if you're playing it safe and you're just saying, well, I'm secure in what I'm at, I challenge you that playing it safe is actually riskier than taking the risk and going out there and doing it. So, my friends, what are you going to do? Are you going to take a moment and say, hey, what am I going to do to make myself better? What am I going to do to make myself to where I can learn something more? Okay? Are you going to just sit back and wait for somebody to give you the winning mega lotto ticket? I don't think so. I really don't think that's going to make the difference because there's about 22 million other people waiting for the same thing. The ones that become successful and make a difference, look around you. They're the ones that are out doing things. They're not the ones waiting for somebody to give them anything. They're the ones out there going to find out what it takes to get what they need. Legally, by the way. I'm not talking about going out robbing a liquor store, nothing crazy like that, okay, guys? What I'm talking about, there's ways of doing it, and you've heard me talk about it before, servant leadership. I like to teach the type of leadership where it's serving others. Because if you're serving others, it's going to come back to you. Yes, you're going to get burned along the way. My friends, I can sit here and talk to you all night long about how I've been burned. I've been burned by the best of them. I've been burned by family. I've been burned by friends. I've been burned by close friends. But I've also gained a lot of good friends along the way. I've gained a lot of family along the way. And most of all, I have an understanding of what it takes for true success and true happiness. And that's what it's about, my friends. It's not a take world. It's what do you have to give? And what are you going to do to get into a position where you can give? It's just like me putting out this podcast. 10 years ago, if you'd have told me I'd be doing a podcast and spending my free time talking for 20 to 30 minutes a week, spending an hour or two editing it, spending time on a hosting program, learning a website, just to help other people without getting paid? You see, it's not always about the money, my friends. It's about serving. It's about where you're at. I know, yes, the money does come eventually, believe me. I just take it one day at a time, and I'm doing very well. This trade has been very good to me. I've been an electrician for over 30 years now. I teach the trade. I teach the apprenticeship program. Like I said, I don't know everything. Still a long way from it. That's why I continue to learn. You never quite truly always get there and become I know everything guy. Once you think you're at that point, that's the way someone's going to come down and knock you down, just like the old boxers do, because things are always changing. So I want to encourage you. Evaluate where you're at. Don't just make far-fetched goals. I'm going to evaluate where you are and say, hey, what am I going to do? Where do I want to be? How do I get there? That's a whole lot better than just setting a goal. That's making a dream happen. Well, again, friends, that's all I have for today. And I look forward to this great year, 2018. And one of my goals and one of my dreams that's going to happen is that I'm going to get some more courses out, because I do need to start making a little bit of money off some of the stuff I've been doing lately. I've spent a lot of free time and a lot of stuff, but I'm getting a lot of growth, and a lot of growth from you guys, a lot of great encouragement. So I appreciate that. But I want to encourage you, check out the website. If you want to find out more about that course I'm putting out, again, it's on branch circuit calculations and demystifying how to do calculations. And I'll give you a hint about what's in there. You don't memorize anything. All the answers are right there. They tell you exactly how to do it. It's an open book instruction book. It's right there. So again, I'm going to walk you through it. And I look forward to hearing from you. And again, continue to share. I'm approaching that 500 likes on Facebook. Man, am I stoked. I just started the page not too long ago. I'm looking at, I'd love to hear your input, guys. I'm looking at starting a Facebook group. I know there's a ton of Facebook groups out there, but I want to start a special one for tradesmen that want to succeed in the field and what we can do. So I'm looking at doing that. So I'd love to hear your input about it. If it's something that you think it might be viable, continue to share. If share this podcast with somebody. If they don't know how to do a podcast, hey, we have a YouTube channel for that. I have one in there that shows how to do a podcast. I might want to do a different one because I've learned a lot of things already since that podcast when I did there. I'm recording on some new equipment here. I actually got a whole new mixer board. So I hope it's coming out. I might even change the intro. I'm playing around. I got some new toys for Christmas. So I'm not sure how they're working out. I'm actually recording on the new mixer I have now. So hopefully I don't sound too much different. But anyhow, thanks a lot. Check us out. Email out there, dave@surgingforward.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on the website, surgingforward.com. And if there's ever anything I can do, if you need any code update classes, we have those for you. All the states now. And working on some other things also. If you're working out there in that cold, make sure you're staying safe out there, my friends. So again, stay safe and keep surging forward. Until next time. Keep those calls coming in. Keep the emails coming, man. Looking forward to it. Talk to you later. God bless.